Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a preview for Ultimate Black Panther #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's talk about the creative team here. We have writer Brian Hill with art by Stefano Caselli, colors by David Curiel. The new Ultimate Black Panther is finally here. In the wake of Ultimate Invasion, Khonshu and Ra, the force known together as Moon Knight, are seeking to expand their brutal control of the continent of Africa. In response, the lone bulwark against them, the isolated nation of Wakanda will send forth its champion, its king, the Black Panther. From the creative minds of Brian Hill, who's worked on items like Blade and Killmonger, and Stefano Caselli, whose work you've seen recently on Avengers and X-Men Red, comes a bold new take on the world of Black Panther and Wakanda. I am very excited about this title. I think the inclusion of Khonshu and Ra, Moon Knight in this Ultimate Universe, this new Ultimate retelling. I will say you probably want to at least check out the Ultimate Universe one shot if you don't want to go back and read the full Invasion miniseries. But I think that you can jump on this book, without having any really prior knowledge. Brian Hill is an excellent writer, and I'm very excited to see what we have in this new world, how this will differ from the Wakanda that we're familiar with. What this new challenge of this alliance of two entities as Moon Knight. I think that'll be a really nice conflict, at least to begin with, and explore this world. Let's take a look at some of the preview art. Stefano Caselli is a fantastic artist, and I just really love the way that the pacing is set up here. There, as you can see here, very gruesome from the beginning. These forces show up. Moon Knight shows up, and of course, we get to explore a little bit of the city of Wakanda here, and we get to meet our Black Panther. Right? We don't know. We assumed that we had assumed that it was T'Challa, and now it is confirmed here in this preview. But it's going to be really interesting to explore how this Black Panther differs from the one that we know and what new challenges await this Black Panther in the Ultimate Universe. So, very excited for this comic. I really have been enjoying everything out of the Ultimate line. I don't even know if there was, I don't think there was an Ultimate Black Panther when the Ultimate Universe was first around. So that'll be really fun to get into. And of course, a lot of really cool side characters. There's a beautiful, beautiful cover of Storm that you'll see at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. It is so much worth it. Hopefully, I can find that one in my shop. I was able to go to the shop, pick it up. So I'm very excited to get into it. Let me refresh you on who is working on this book. This book is written by Brian Hill, with art by Stefano Caselli, colors by Dave Curiel, letters by Corey Petit. Um, yeah, so really exciting stuff. I will go into spoilers for this issue. I'm going to talk about everything that happened and kind of the approach by Brian Hill to this new Ultimate Universe Black Panther, which I find very interesting. So let's talk about it. All right. So we are dropped into this world. From the preview pages, you probably have seen that Khonshu and Ra, Moon Knight, they both work together as Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight is more of an organization, more of a union. That's what they kind of go by. Um, they are taking over villages in Africa, and of course, the news reaches uh, T'Challa and everybody in Wakanda. Now, T'Challa at this time has been having nightmares, so he goes to his father for counsel. He also is sent to visit Matron Imala, who is the sacred mother of the Voodoo Khan, for counsel about what to do about his nightmares, what to do about the situation. It's really interesting because T'Challa feels like a very different character than the one we probably know from either other comic books, the cartoon, the animated, the live action films. I mean, uh, so it's a very different approach to T'Challa, but there are some things that are still very similar. T'Challa has a council. Shuri, his sister's there. I just really love Stefano Caselli's character designs, like all the armor, the hairstyles, even the way T'Challa sits on the throne. I think that's very cool. And it's just, you know, as he is informed of the movements of Moon Knight, of Khonshu and Ra, um, he feels that Wakanda is safe, so there doesn't need to be any action taken. Now, obviously, Shuri disagrees with this. So this is more of the Black Panther that kind of wants to be an isolationist, right? And kind of let defend Wakanda, but that's about it. We don't really go past our own door. Obviously, Shuri disagrees with this. We also get a very quick glimpse of like the technology that Shuri has provided for the people of Wakanda in this beautiful, beautiful panel. Really cool stuff. So we get a lot. We get to learn a lot about the royal family. We get to learn a lot about Wakanda. We get to learn a lot about those characters. Now, one thing I was not expecting is that we do get a version of Killmonger here that is actually helping out and shows up, probably uh, doing the duty of what the Black Panther should be doing, right? He shows up to take on the forces of Moon Knight and protect this village. We also get a really nice surprise. I believe the character is Storm. Now, obviously, it hasn't been, I don't think it was confirmed. But if you saw the cover, the alternate cover, also, Killmonger refers to her as the Wind Rider, which, of course, we know that's how Storm gets around. Really cool. Now, when Wakanda is infiltrated and then somebody sets off an explosion, that takes out the king. Black Panther, finally, we see him. He drops from the building, right? His father pushes him aside to escape the explosion. There's a really cool sequence where you see the suit kind of like nanotechnology putting in. And I pulled up the specific frame of panel because it's Stefano Caselli just he went too hard on this. I love it. I love the way that you can tell how hard he landed, but also just the way that he, like very cat-like, very agile, really cool stuff. So after this incident, it looks like maybe T'Challa is ready to advance on Moon Knight, and now we get the word that Wakanda is now at war. So very exciting stuff for this first issue. What a great debut for the series. Uh, it is, the Ultimate Universe, I think it is a place where you can kind of jump in again and start over fresh. And you can take the best parts of what's been working in the other universe, the other versions of the character, but also update it, redesign it, implement new things that are new and exciting, and they just feel like they really fit in this world. And I think Brian Hill and Stefano Caselli really, really nailed it. So, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Thanos #3. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into the rest of this book. This book is written by Christopher Canwell with art by Luca Pisari with Herman Peralta, Ruth Redman on colors, letters by Corey Petit, the main cover by Eleniel Francis Yu and Sony Go, and of course, variant covers at the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. So the story so far, this is part 3. There's only one more issue after this, so this is miniseries is soon to be over. When Thanos comes to Earth to search for a specific person, the Illuminati come into play to stop him. Now that everyone's been cleared off from the town, Thanos has Roberta in his grasp. As we learned last issue, that she is the embodiment of death, and that's why Thanos is after her. There's a lot more revelations in this issue. So let's talk about this specific one. In this issue, Thanos unlocks Roberta's true memories as the goddess Death, and she's not happy about it. Nor are the Illuminati, who are the ones who had given her this new human identity. But first, they must deal with getting the entire city of Fresno safely back to Earth. There's a lot of moving parts here. Like I mentioned in my previous reviews, I really like this roster of the Illuminati. We had Hulk come in last issue to battle it out with the Mad Titan, and we had a good battle. So I think there's some really interesting stuff here. There's an exploration of the mythology and the relationship between Thanos and Death. There's also a lot of mistrust. Maybe there's a lot. There's still the Illuminati are not a well-oiled machine. It really does feel like a last minute put together type of team. They all have very strong personalities, including Emma Frost in any group is gonna be something that causes a little bit of friction. But on top of that, I think this issue finds little moments of humor, which I really do appreciate from Cantwell and the team. Whether it's a visual gag or just a little moment of levity before giving us some of that impact towards the end of the issue, both figuratively and literally. So let's take a look at some of the preview art, as we do have multiple artists with very similar styles. I can see why they were working together, but here we see the Illuminati talking to each other as they try to find Thanos. Really interesting to see, like, most of these guys can fly or move very quickly, but of course Emma Frost has to like hijack a bike, and then Thanos takes Death to Osvaldo's Mexican restaurant, which I think is really funny. This is where I brought some of those visual gags I was talking about, and of course, as Roberta finds out her true identity, things just kind of escalate from there. Because of course, Death is a very powerful being. There's a sequence here that we'll get to. We won't see it in the preview art, but it's a very interesting sequence of a different realm, the realm of death, which I think is very explored very well. That's probably where we have the change in artist. If I had to guess, that would make sense that they would take care of the other separate pages. But yeah, and who is this woman? Why has she been around Roberta for so long? What is her end game? And also, why did Death pick that specific form? Uh, there's a lot of questions still left unanswered, and I think this last issue, the next issue, will definitely clear things up and bring this story to a close in a really fun manner. I think this is going to be a great collected edition. It reads, the pacing is very quick, so it reads very speedily. Like, and then you get to kind of marvel at all the cool art, all the visual gags. Yeah, really fun stuff. Really interesting approach to seeing how Thanos and what his motivations are here. So, hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a preview for Star Wars Mace Windu #1. This is a new series from Marvel Star Wars series comics. Let's take a look at the creative team before we get into this book. This book is written by Mark Bernardin with art with pencils by George Genti, Dexter Vines on inks, Andrew Dalhas on colors, and letters by Joe Caramagna. I am very excited for this series. I really like Mark Bernardin's comic that he's been doing. He's been doing a few one shots, especially there was one in the Darth Vader series very recently. And I just really enjoy his conversation with Kevin Smith on the Fab and Beyond podcast. So, in this book, one of the greatest Jedi must stop an incendiary secret from falling into the wrong hands. Even in the years before the Clone Wars, Mace Windu was known for his discipline, determination, and combat skills. When a scientist discovers when a scientific discovery threatens the balance of the galaxy, Mace is led down a treacherous path of mystery and action, introducing Asita Cruz, a pirate with a deadly secret, who the Hutts and the Republic will stop at nothing to control. So here we have a new character, so that's always very cool. First appearances, because you never know who may end up showing up back in the live action stuff, right? And of course, I think just having a Mace Windu series, it's a lot of fun. It's a character that was, for the most part, pretty much unexplored in the main, in the live action films. I think we get to see a little bit more of him in Clone Wars. But of course, we know where his story ends. But there's a long road that took Mace Windu to that point, right? So it's always fun to explore that. Let's take a look at some of the preview art here. First of all, Star Wars and mixing themselves in a pirate ship. I'm always down for that. I think even at this point, there's some things that Jedi can't fully control, including the weather. Also, I don't know how well we'll get to explore Mace Windu's other skills, so that's a lot of fun. And yeah, it just looks great. I love a sea adventure. I love getting to see some vessels and different things like that. And also, what is the secret that the scientist has uncovered? So very cool stuff. Of course, it is Marvel, so there's a lot of really cool variants at the end of the video. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a preview for Wolverine Madripoor Knights #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's take a look at the creative team. This book is written by Chris Claremont with art by Edgar Salazar, colors by Carlos Lopez, and letters by Corey Petit. This story takes place shortly after Uncanny X-Men 268 with the iconic cover with Black Widow, Captain America, and Wolverine. So that'll be really fun to get a little bit of a story. If you're a fan of Chris Claremont, like, I mean, come on. You know, so in this issue, Claremont, Cap, Widow, and Wolverine together again return to the island nation of Madripoor as X-Men legend Chris Claremont takes the helm of an all-new Wolverine tale, teaming Logan with his standing friends Captain America and Black Widow, picking up in the window of the all-time classic Uncanny X-Men 268, thrill to a brand new adventure. When a secret weapon brings Captain America to Madripoor, the trio team up. You've been waiting decades for this to finally come to pass, as the mission brings Logan and Black Widow into a race against time, against a multitude of foes, including the Hand. You've definitely been waiting for this one, and you'll never guess where it goes. Yeah, I think this is one of the most iconic covers. I think originally done by Jim Lee. Marvel's definitely reprinted it a couple times. So it'll be really interesting to see. First of all, what is this story gonna be, right? What are we gonna follow here? Who's gonna be a part of this story? Because every time Wolverine goes to Madripoor, like he goes undercover as Patch, which is always kind of a goofy thing, but it's really fun. So let's take a look at some of the preview art. Now, I will tell you one thing I noticed right away. We have a lot of narration boxes, and that is just classic Claremont. Like he is definitely one to tell you as well as kind of showing you through the art, with the art team. So it's definitely something that it's not for everyone. I think I'm not a big fan of narration boxes, but I am a big fan of the characters that we see here: Black Widow, Psylocke, Jubilee, and of course Wolverine. I love this double page spread of them kind of walking around the maybe a restaurant or a casino in Madripoor, a club. So, and then of course we have Captain America dropping in, followed by maybe hand ninjas. Yeah, this is gonna be quite a romp. So, very interesting stuff. I'm excited to check this out. I think one of the cool things about this being a story out of time is that I can get to it whenever it's more convenient, right? There's no like big continuity. This doesn't have anything to do with Fall of X. So this is just more if I want to check out a story with three very cool characters in the cover, and of course, a legendary artist and legendary creator at the helm. So that'll be really fun to follow around. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a preview for X-Men 31. This is a new book from Marvel Comics. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into the book. Of course, this book is written by Gary Duggan, with art by Phil Noto and letters by Clayton Cowell. So we continue the team from the previous issue, which I'm always glad to see Phil Noto doing art duties on any book, but specifically an X-Men book. I think that's a lot of fun. So in this issue, the ultimate mutant hunter. The X-Men lived in fear of Nimrod's creation, and now it's clear why. The ultimate weapon of mutant extinction is ever adapting, ever evolving, with only one goal: death to mutant kind. Um, so we are approaching very quickly the end of this era of X-Men as we know it, and the end of this series. And I think Gary Duggan's been doing a bang up job leading a part of the group. Right, we have multiple writers kind of leading each of the series, and I think Duggan's been such a welcome creator on the main series. I think the stories that he's been telling are a lot of fun. He's woven in and out some really cool seeds from the beginning, and I think the characters that we're following around are just super cool. Like, we see. Let me pull up some preview art here. You can see Sync. We see Talon. We see, of course, Kamala, who's one of the newer X Men. Spider Man is always fun to be hanging out with the X Men. We have of course, Kate and Nightcrawler, right? So, just a lot of my favorite mutants hanging out, and I don't know that I'm ready for this series to come to an end, but I'm definitely excited to see what we're doing in the upcoming future. So, I love this. I actually really like this roster of X Men, but I don't think it'll last long, especially going up against Nimrod. And now that all the resurrection protocols and everything is kind of not out of fashion, so we'll see what happens. Stay tuned for that. I'll definitely talk more about this X-Men issue and maybe even the run later on in the channel. So stay tuned for that. Let me know if you want to hear about that in the comments. So if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.